from the Wiley Vision studio in Spokane, Washington. The Stephen James Wiley Show.
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid, a 5-cent package makes 2 quarts of Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid, 9 great flavors, the drink you love. Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
for the very best drink you ever made.
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
Be sure that the envelope says
Kool-Aid.
You can give your youngsters a lot of pleasure with Kool-Aid. You know it's pure and good. It has the Parents Magazine seal. And it's so thrifty. A 5-cent package makes 2 full quarts. Just add Kool-Aid to water with ice. Add some sugar and stir.
For the very best drink you ever made.
Be sure that the envelope says
Kool-Aid.
Well, hey there. How are you? I'm in my car. Or I should say my full-size SUV. I had some peeling paint on the left fender, rear fender of my Lincoln Navigator. Yeah, it's old enough to have peeling paint. Don't judge. All right? And I had a wild hair that it's like a line, right? So I'm like, you push it back and it almost looks like it's fine. So I had a wild hair because I always think of horrible ways to fix things, and this all comes from my father. I'm just telling you right now, and he knows it. We Wileys, our first instinct when it comes to fixing something, it should just be a known thing in our minds that it's gonna be a bad idea, and it's probably not gonna work, or if it does work, it's going to not work again after 3 months. So anyhow, I have this paint thing on the side of my rig, and I think, I bet I could get a $5 thing of clear coat. Just a little dab will do you. It's like a fingernail polish looking stuff, right? So I go buy some at Wally World. And then I realized, man, this crease here is too big in the peel of the paint. This clear is not going to seal up on it because it wants to come out. So I used Scotch tape. Yeah, buddy. And I taped each end of it and then applied the clear coat to the middle, because I thought that'll stick, that'll hold, and then I'll pull the tape off and I'll do those parts after the middle part's nice and dry, and I did a couple coats there. So I've done this, right? The Scotch tape is still there. And now there's a part of me that thinks, geez, I don't know, that'll probably be good for another 3 months. You see how that happens? When the truth is, I need to peel the paint, buy a touch-up paint kit with the paint color that's appropriate for this Lincoln, and then the clear coat to go over it. Which, maybe, because I'm publicly disclosing this idiosyncrasy of my genetics, I might go do something like that today. But that'll cost like $15. Anyhow. That's just a thing I noticed. So I am a irrational Seahawk fan in the sense that I have chosen at this point in my life to embrace an absolutely absurd amount of optimism each and every day for the football season. Because the Seahawks used to cause me emotional distress. Going back to my earliest memories as a young child, watching the Seahawks on Monday Night Football against the Los Angeles Raiders at the time, and watching Bo Jackson run for 200 yards. And I think that was 1988, maybe. And I went in I was at my grandparents' house. I went into their bathroom and cried. And I was just so angry because the Seahawks were so terrible. And Brian Bosworth didn't stop Bo Jackson. And we would never be smart enough to have a player like Bo Jackson, right? He only played half a season. That's how amazing he was. Or like 2/3 of a season. Because he played baseball. It's amazing. So, I have decided in the last couple of years, because, I mean, when the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl 40 to the Steelers, when the NFL rigged the Super Bowl so the Seahawks would lose, you all know it's true. Don't even start. That game was a sham. I lost my shit. I was on message boards on the internet yelling at strangers. I was that person. And if there's anything I don't want to be, it's that person. But I was unapologetically that person. And, you know, I have many wonderful friends who are Seahawk fans, and they get pretty upset. I might even have some of them on this show if I can get them to. And now I am their new, last year or two, annoying friend who I just always believe we're going to the Super Bowl, man. We're going to the Super Bowl. We have a 1 in 31 chance, or 1 in 32 chance. I don't know how that works. We're 1, there's other 31. Of going to the Super Bowl. That's pretty good odds. That's better than my odds of winning the lottery. Hell, that's better than my odds of having pretty much anything good happen. So, why not? Why not? This year, the Seahawks, Super Bowl, Sammy Darnold, Valdez-Scantling. I don't even know why we picked that guy up in free agency. I mean, God bless him. He's probably a wonderful person. Probably a great father, husband, good guy, loves the Lord. But, you know, that's a questionable one. But I don't care. Because when I embrace absurd, irrational optimism, it brings joy to my heart. That I don't have to be a cynical bastard. And the other thing is, these people are human beings. Like, we treat them like they're video game characters. You know, and I do it. I had a whole thing about DK Metcalf, and he needs to go. He's got a binky in his mouth. How Freudian is that? You know, he used to. He doesn't do that anymore because he grew up. What do you know? But you know what? He seems like a hell of a wonderful guy off the field. And he said some really kind things, or his publicist said some really kind things about the Seahawk fans as he left, because that's what a good brand does. But God bless DK Metcalf. I don't know who's going to throw him the ball in Pittsburgh. He doesn't know who's going to. Mason Rudolph. That's who's throwing the ball in Pittsburgh. That's who's slinging the rock. That's not inspired. Whatever. It's Pittsburgh. They can have the most mediocre quarterback still go 10-7 and go to the playoffs and lose really fast. But, you know, don't tell that to a Seahawk fan. Seahawk fans are tired of being good. We want to be terrible for a year or two, so then we can be great. That's not actually how it works, ever. The Eagles weren't terrible and then got good because they decided to be terrible. It's just such a funny thing to me. You know, I don't know. I'm not a general manager, so I don't think I know enough to armchair general manager anything. So I'm choosing to be wildly ecstatic about the Seahawks. Wildly joyful about every move we make. We picked up some guy, offensive lineman from the Ravens. I don't know who he is. I don't think anyone knows who he is. But he's probably a hell of a nice guy. And he's probably going to try really hard. And he's going to have a Super Bowl ring pretty soon when we win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. And then we are trying to get that lineman from Chicago. By the time you hear this, we might have gotten him already. He's meeting with us, Hinky or Winky, or I don't remember his name. But supposedly he's good. Apparently he's a terribly large man. We need some big guys. Some trench war daddies, as Coach McDingle says. Coach McDonald. So, last thing I'd like to leave you with today is an observation I've encountered, and I'm analyzing my own response to this truth. In that, a friend of mine, who's a lovely lady, she DM'd me with a message of a video of some preacher saying something that she thought was interesting, right? And I thought, okay, but and I didn't really pay attention initially, but in the video, there's a guy watching the video. So I'm watching a video of a guy talking in church, and then there's this fella sitting down in the corner of the screen who has videoed himself watching the video, and he's making facial expressions of his response to the video. And I thought, this is insanity. And I started thinking through it, and I was like, I've watched more than one of these. But it never occurred to me that this is ridiculous. I'm watching somebody watch a video, and my eyes are looking at the man. I'm engaging psychologically with his responses to this video. Now, in a simpler time, I would have just been watching this video, hearing what the man said. But instead, I'm hearing what the man said and observing and probably being somewhat influenced by the facial expressions of this guy who's watching the video with me and posted the video of him watching a video. You know, and that's kind of American press in a nutshell. They watch a president's press conference and then they tell us what it said. We could have watched it ourselves, start to finish, uncensored, unedited. But then we let the trusted voices tell us what they said and what they really meant and what the tone and implications of that statement was. Or they let us not know things that we might have found interesting. Doesn't matter what your political persuasion is. That's what we do. We live in a time where you can watch the video of anything. An entire press conference with the President of the United States. An entire press conference with a senator that you like or that you don't like. You can watch all of it. But we still have this thing inside of us that wants somebody else to tell us what it means, to tell us what we should know. A trusted voice. And let me please hear me when I say there are no trusted voices. Just watch the video without somebody telling you what it means. And you decide what it means. Not what your tribe says it means, your political crew, whatever. You decide what it means for yourself. We live in a time where people's cultiness is on red hot. And we all want to find warmth in the tribe. And I know we're naturally inclined to be tribal, but let me tell you, man, when it comes to information, I don't want to watch a video of somebody watching a video. Because something in my evolution is going to look at the guy who's watching the video and I'm going to take in what he's telling me. And I don't want to do that. And it's just my observation of myself. And maybe that's useful to you, because I'm done letting other people tell me what the video is saying. I can go watch everything myself. with the beauty of X, you can go watch the whole thing. You can find it. Or YouTube. You can find it. YouTube is amazing. Amazing. When they're not trying to censor people. They're amazing. And that's available to me. So I need to embrace that, I think. And honestly, it's just kind of fucking absurd that we're watching videos of people watching videos. It's just weird. So, hey, I'm driving. I'm going to get some coffee here and head home. And I'm writing some letters today. I'm a letter writer. I've written lots of letters to a lot of people, and sometimes they write back. Usually people who are interesting or famous or influential. It's a whole thing. I do it. It's fun. You should too. Go for it. All right. Love you all. Have a great day. Peace and love.